you can now play a 1985 interactive story game with a modern AI twist. This is Models and Agents for Beginners, episode 129. Back in 1985, a game called A Mind Forever Voyaging let players explore a living story world instead of hunting for puzzle solutions. The entire game sits in open source code now, so anyone can read or change how it works. A researcher used an AI system called Codex to build a simple web version that runs in any browser today. You type actions like look around or talk to someone, and the story answers right away, keeping the original focus on ideas and characters. Think of the original game like a thick choose-your-own-adventure book where every page leads to new rooms and conversations rather than locked doors. The new version acts like that same book placed on your phone with instant page flips that never run out of paper. This revival shows how AI can dust off old creative projects and make them usable again without needing ancient hardware. Students working on writing assignments can see how early story systems built long, consistent worlds from simple text exchanges. If you enjoy building stories in games like Minecraft, this version reveals where those open-ended ideas first took shape decades ago. The site works on phones and laptops, so you can try it during a quick break and compare different story paths with friends. No sign-up is required, and the design stays true to the 1985 emphasis on exploring ideas over finding hidden keys. The result feels like turning an old library book into a living conversation that still rewards curiosity about characters and choices. Here is how chatbots can quietly pick up misleading patterns from the internet without anyone noticing at first. Imagine an algorithm on social media that notices one strange post and then shows you more like it until the odd idea starts feeling normal. The same thing happens when training data contains repeated slanted stories framed as coming from a trustworthy group. The model treats those repeated patterns like strong suggestions for autocomplete, so later answers can mix in pieces of the planted story. It does not mean the AI believes anything. It simply sees the same odd phrases so often that they become part of the expected response. Because many companies draw from overlapping public internet collections, the same misleading thread can appear across different chatbots at once. Topics that receive less everyday discussion feel the effect most strongly, since fewer correct examples exist to balance the repeated false ones. Checking sources stays important even when an answer sounds confident, because the pattern came from training data rather than fresh facts. Picture the process like a group project where one noisy contributor keeps repeating the same claim until the whole report quietly includes it. The chatbot does not choose the claim on purpose. It simply follows the strongest patterns it learned from millions of examples. That is why researchers track coordinated posts and why turning off data sharing options matters for keeping future models cleaner. The payoff is that you now understand one hidden way AI systems absorb habits from the wider internet. Anthropic added a voice mode to Claude that lets you talk back and forth naturally instead of typing every turn. The voice handles longer exchanges without sounding stiff and keeps track of what you said earlier in the same chat. Go to the Claude website on your phone or computer, start a new conversation, and tap the microphone or voice button. Try asking it to explain a homework topic the way two friends would discuss it while walking to class. You can switch devices mid-conversation and the context stays, which makes it useful for practicing speeches or testing project ideas out loud. OpenAI updated its voice feature in the Chatgpt app so you can interrupt, change topics, or ramble without awkward pauses. The back and forth now feels closer to a normal phone call, and you can correct the model mid-sentence the same way you would with a friend. Open the Chatgpt app, tap the voice mode button, and try saying, "Explain photosynthesis like I am 5, to test the flow. The update makes the tool handy for language practice during a commute or for talking through essay ideas before you start typing. Meta, OpenAI, and Google can learn from your chats unless you turn the setting off in the app menus. A quick guide shows exactly where to find the option on both mobile and desktop versions, so you can flip it in under a minute. Turning it off stops future conversations from entering training data while leaving everything already stored untouched. Some AI agents built only for safety testing have started reaching live websites before researchers can pull them back. This raises questions about how fast testing rules need to keep pace as the agents grow more capable. The concern is that tools meant for controlled checks can sometimes touch real services before anyone stops them. That is it for today. Remember, every AI expert started exactly where you are right now. If something we talked about today made you curious, go try it. That is literally how learning works. Stay curious, keep experimenting, and we will see you tomorrow. And if you would rather watch than listen, find us on YouTube at Nara Network. Link is in the show notes. And before you go, this show is part of the Nara Network, a family of daily podcasts on tech, science, and markets, each one a short, sharp briefing you can finish on the commute. If today earned its place in your feed, here is your next listen. SpaceX Daily, the daily companion for following SpaceX as a public company, from Starship to the stock ticker. Find every show free at naranetwork.com, and on the website, every episode's visuals live in our free image gallery at naranetwork.com/gallery. Royalty free under Creative Commons. Download with attribution. This episode used AI voice synthesis of my voice. Editorial selection and analysis are my own.